Imagine a timeline where the Sorting Hat makes a different call. The Great Hall falls silent as the famous Harry Potter is sent to Slytherin. For an 11-year-old Hermione Granger, this outcome matters. At this stage in her life, she relies heavily on rules, established structures, and the adults who run them. If Hogwarts places a student in a specific house, she assumes that label reveals undeniable information about their core character. This chart illustrates how a first-year student maps the school's social structure, creating a rigid binary: brave Gryffindors on one side, cunning Slytherins on the other. And that green faction carries heavy baggage, historically associated with ruthless ambition, pure-blood elitism, and dark wizards. Operating under this rigid framework, Hermione would instantly place a green-clad Harry in an adversarial category. Any chance of a quick, easy friendship disappears the moment he sits at that table. Down in the stone-walled common room, Draco Malfoy sets the tone early. He is smug, elitist, and actively tries to pull Harry into his circle. This directly echoes the warning Harry received from Hagrid before even stepping foot in the castle, that every witch or wizard who went bad passed through Slytherin. When Hermione watches Draco sneer at other students in the corridors, she sees empirical evidence. His behavior confirms the exact sweeping stereotype she read about. In the original story, Harry rejects Draco's prejudice and gets sorted into Gryffindor, drawing a bright line between them. Here, Harry still hates Draco's ideology, but he wears the exact same green and silver tie. Without the shared Gryffindor common room forcing them to interact, Hermione's analytical mind dictates a simple strategy: keep maximum distance from the boys sitting with the bullies. But Hermione is highly responsive to new data. From afar, she acts as a skeptical investigator, watching how this supposed enemy actually navigates the school. She would quickly notice his severe isolation. Surrounded by peers who tolerate or encourage elitism, Harry remains a solitary outcast within his own house. When Malfoy mocks Ron's lack of money or insults Muggleborns, witches and wizards born to non-magical parents, Harry doesn't laugh. He reacts with visible discomfort and quiet defiance. She might start from a rigid assumption, but she consistently updates her worldview when presented with undeniable proof. Day after day, Harry displays a stubborn instinct to share, to show humility, and to protect the vulnerable. None of this aligns with the ruthless ambition expected of his house. This localized rebellion forces Hermione to process a massive anomaly. The boy's individual actions completely contradict the institutional label slapped on his robes. Theoretical observations only go so far. It takes a life-or-death crisis to properly test these assumptions. A massive, grotesque mountain troll infiltrates the school, violently smashing through doors, and corners Hermione alone in a crumbling dungeon bathroom. Suddenly, a first-year student dashes into the dark to face the monster, his green and silver robes flashing in the shadows. Harry doesn't run toward the danger out of house loyalty, and he certainly gains no personal benefit from fighting a fully grown troll. He does it out of pure, instinctual decency. He hurls himself into a brutal fight, risking his neck to protect a classmate who spent the last 2 months actively avoiding him. Surviving that kind of crucible shatters assumptions. For Hermione, it proves that an act of extreme, self-sacrificing courage easily supersedes whatever category the school assigned him. What emerges from the rubble of that dungeon is an intentional friendship. Partnering up causes immediate social friction. Gryffindors whisper suspiciously about the red and gold student spending time with the enemy, while the Slytherins sneer at the alliance. They don't share a dormitory or a common room to fall back on. The intense external pressure means sitting together in the library or the Great Hall requires an active, deliberate choice every single day. But Hermione consistently values observable truth over social convenience. When Ron questions the alliance, she stands her ground and defends the Slytherin she saw fight the troll. Maintaining a bond forged across enemy lines demands significantly more commitment than a standard friendship born out of simply sharing a dorm room. This alliance works precisely because they do not share the same traits. They are bonded by a strict balance of opposites. This diagram maps their specific strengths. On one side, Harry's chaotic instinct and raw courage. On the other, Hermione's deep reliance on logic and structure. When faced with a crisis, these traits interlock perfectly. Her calculated logic directs his unflinching courage. In this timeline, an isolated Slytherin Harry would need that structural support more than ever. Hermione acts as a steadfast anchor, constantly reminding him of his true nature when his house tries to pull him down. Together, they form a unified front against a school system designed to keep them apart. Your core identity is never determined by the colored tie society hands you. It is defined by the undeniable, self-sacrificing choices you make when that system fails.